Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And it's Friday, it's the second cast of the week. That has to be a contender for one of the most fail weeks of the year. Apologies to everyone, guys. Those of you who like my Facebook page will probably be aware of the issues I've been having. It's content related. There's been a major drought in decent replays recently. No sooner, though, did I mention it last night. I've suddenly been flooded with replays, and although it might sound like I'm complaining, believe me, I'm not. That is where I am happiest, being inundated, being drowned under a plethora of replays. That is where I like to be. So thank you for everyone for your support and sending those in. Anyway, on to today's game. I've got some average Joes coming up for you this afternoon. It's going to take place on Fields of Isis. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Fields of Isis, supremely happy that this is now in, well, I say now in, it's now in my selection of maps for the matchmaker. If you don't already know, you can now select up to 15 maps, and your opponent will select 15 maps for the auto match ranking system for the ladder, and it will try and find commonalities between you, which is great because it means you can exclude all of the maps that you don't like. And this is on my pool, baby. So if I ever actually find any time to play this game and you're a similar ranking to me, you might be facing me on Fields of Isis. How cool is that? Very exciting. Anyway, we'll call this Team 1 over here at the left-hand side of the map, and we'll call this Team 2 over here on the right. Going first for Team 1 up top in baby blue, it's OXY. Reminded me very much of my teenage years. That used to be a product for removing spots. I don't know if that's still... That was a long time ago, so I don't know if they're still running. But anyway, I'm sure that's not who he's named after. He's going Cybrin, opening first land. And this is also the player that everyone's going to have to be wary of in this one. He's far outstripping all the rest of the Joes in this one. He is 1746 in ranking. So he is the guy to be watching in this one. And his teammate to the south in Ferrari red, conversely though going UEF, it's Tetreagrammaton, named after the famous institution in Equilibrium. If you haven't seen that movie, what are you waiting for? Go out immediately and rent it. It is awesome, and if this guy fights anywhere near as well as a Grammaton cleric, then Team 2 are in trouble, because those guys are OP, man. Grammaton cleric OP, please nerf. Anyway, he's opening first land. Let's take a look at Team 2, already on the move with their ACUs. Going first for Team 2 in mellow yellow, also going UEF, it's Apophenas, and he opened first land. And last but not least, it's Butek Lee, we're going to call him Butek. He's going Aeon in lurid green, and he opened the first land, going second air, plonking that down next to the Hydro. Now, these two guys significantly further ahead with their push to the middle than Team 1. I'm sure we're all pretty wary now of the stratagem or the meta game in ISIS. You want to get to the apertures and accumulate as much or harvest as much of this mass for your team as you can. This is a little bit different to the meta, shall we say? A little bit strange. We've got both ACUs for Team 2 heading to the southern aperture. That is not something that you see regularly, and I guess they're going for a little bit of a double ACU push, maybe putting pressure on the weakest party, try and take him out of the game first. Of course, the problem is with that is you will be yielding the northern aperture to the highest rated player in the game. So OXY is now going to probably more than likely have free reign at all of that mass in the middle there at the top aperture, so he is going to be dangerous. However, he might be about to lose an engineer here. Apophenas coming through with a single solitary striker and a snoop. He'll be well aware of it. You can see them changing tack. They're heading for that engineer. It recently got pinged. That was actually OXY pinging it, so his teammate was aware. Nothing that can be done, though. That engineer joins the ethereal scrap heap in the sky. Terribly sad, he just gained himself a green card. Never mind. There are plenty more where he came from. Little engineer coming in there for Tetreagrammaton, gets instantly blapped by Apophenas, and hasn't actually played into their hand. Yes, they're going to get all of the mass down here, but they would have been expecting Tetreagrammaton to move to the middle. But whether or not he's not generally up to speed on the meta and what you should be doing in this game, he's instead moving to the middle a little bit slow. Was going to try and get some mass recycled with a single solitary engineer and use his ACU to establish a production base a little bit further forward than his main. But these units for Apophenas still causing havoc, finally taken care of. They managed to take out a radar station there that's been queued up once again by OXY. See another engineer taken out there, but he will now have access to all of this reclaim. That could be very dangerous indeed. OXY filling up his tanks, 2,500 banked already. Butek has banked about the same, and Apophenas is on 1,000. You can imagine Tetreagrammaton is he's on about 1,000 as well. So actually, Team 1 ahead slightly. You see, there's a lot of stuff they haven't picked up yet. The core units have been reclaimed, those harbingers, but a nice little build behind, trying to stop Grammaton. Nice little build there from Apophenas, trying to slow his progression back to safer territory. But they don't have a lot of unit support. In fact, they've got no unit support. So Apophenas is going to back up a little bit here. He's down into the yellow already, 7,600 hit points left. Butek puts himself out in front. And Team 2 are going to back out. I'm sure this is the best start for Team 2. It hasn't really worked out how they would have envisaged. However, there is now Tech 2 on the field for OXY, who's got a whole bunch of hoplites. It's going to allow him to engage these units at range. And is he going to establish some kind of base at the top? He's still concerning himself with picking up the last few rocks for the moment. Feels like Tetreagrammaton can hold the south at the moment, is wheeling the rest of his troops back up north. It's a very early T2 HQ there. What have we got happening over here? Any progression towards tech? There we go. 50% done on that land factory for Butek. He is going for T2 land. What have we got back here? No tech on the way. Oh, yes, we do. Sorry, T2 air on the way for Apophenas. Just started. So nice matchup there. One going for land, one going for air. Always nice to see a little bit of communication between these two. There certainly seems to be a little bit more collaboration for Team 2 than Team 1. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are on Mumble or some other VoIP. So the hoplites making their move now further forward. Apophenas trying to establish some point defense here, but that engineer is not going to be successful. Down he goes, and those two mechs is going to get taken out as well. Apophenas backing right up here at minute 7.5. Butek still holding fast in the middle. Didn't build any point defense right away. We're more concerned about potential air threats. Went straight for a seeker in the middle. So a bit of unusual play. I've got to give him that. Definitely not standard ISIS style. We've got an upgrade coming on Apophenas. And that air factory now complete to T2, as well as the land factory there for Butek. So Team 2 both at T2. And now we're finally getting an upgrade for Tetreagrammaton there. Oh, sorry, excuse me. His HQ is up front already and in place. This is actually the rear factory just getting a regular upgrade, not an HQ upgrade. So Tetreagrammaton already at Tech 2. You can see he's got some skyboxes in play and already a bunch of T2 engineers down here constructing PD. A lot of engineers queued up around Apophenas. Looks like they completed... they complete that upgrade already? What's he doing? What you doing, sir? So he's got his T2 engineering suite. He's got another upgrade on the way. See if we can discern what we're looking at there. There's 41 mass. I don't know. We'll have to check it out in a bit. That will be augmented by the amount of engineers that's queued up around him or crowded around him. But OXY pushing down the right-hand side of the central reservation is going to force Butek back. Tetreagrammaton coming in with his T1 as well. And Butek's a little bit exposed here. 7,000 hit points left in the tank. Apophenas, did he finish his upgrade there? Been the gun upgrade, you can only imagine. There we go, the Zeph amp. So that is now a hardy little machine, that ACU. 15,000 hit points in play. And fully repped up to boot. Forward comes a little band of Lobos at the bottom for Tetreagrammaton. It's going to take out both of those bottom two mexes. OXY running away with things a little bit eco-wise. 67 mass, running way out front as well, you would expect. But what have we got over here? ACU on the move in a T2 transport, so that's what he's planning. It looks like a T2 com drop at minute 11 here for Apophenas. That's why he went for the T2 air factory. Flies over a whole bunch of flak and needs to be really careful here. That transport down to around 50% of its health. Passes a bunch of interceptors. OXY will be well aware of the danger now. It's gonna be close. In come the Inties. Goes well down into the red, but he manages to drop the com off on the ground, and Apophenas now well and truly inside OXY's base. OXY trying to get his build capacity around this air factory to queue up some PD, but Apophenas, overcharging as he goes, is just blapping his way through all of the build capacity in the center of OXY's base. More PD. Oh, sorry, that was an anti-air turret a little bit further. If only that was a PD, that might have helped him a little bit. All of this build capacity on the run. Apophenas not currently making use of his building upgrade, but there we go. Look at the speed on that, flying through his plasma cannon. T1 PD now online. Wall sections go up, and there is a Cerberus turret, so we've got some T2 PD going up under this forward shield gen, but of course Apophenas can just back up away from that, out of range. That's quite far away from the center of OXY's base. OXY still not withdrawing his troops from the front line, but it looks like Tetreagrammaton is trying to move into assist. We've got some T1 bombers coming in over the top. They get a couple of waves of passes off, taking him down into the yellow. 12,000 odd hit points left on this puppy so far. He continues to press the power grid at the back. Still only T1, but in jeopardy, especially with large overcharges coming into play. Apophenas queues up another anti-aircraft turret, or an anti-aircraft turret this time, sorry. That will give him some cover from the bombers. A second one being queued up, and then he switches back up to PD to help pressure the rest of these ground structures once again. OXY under pressure at the front line as well, as Butek takes this opportunity to press with his newly acquired T2 units. A bunch of blazes on the field. Apophenas looking very difficult to oust out of the center of OXY's base already. Now working on a triad that's going to make life even more difficult, and finally put pressure on all of the core mexes up here, which are still intact and operating at T2, the beating heart of OXY's economy, who is still way out in front on mass. We'll take a look at how he's doing on power. Still in the green, not crippled yet, but if this continues, he will be in dire straits. Love me some com drops. This is going pretty well for Apophenas already. He strolls forward, but you can see a little bit of a point defense creep edging its way back into the base for OXY. He's got his T2 engineers in play. Apophenas is going to have to creep up towards the top left-hand side of the screen. He's doing okay on HP though, and the ranks in veterancy he's gained so far has filled up his tank to 1800 HP when he's at full health. The triad going up a little bit further back and to the north, and then finally he's going to throw together some shield gens and get a real base together in here. This is the more sedentary part of the drop where things slow down a little bit. Another big overcharge there, takes out a huge quantity of engines. Sorry, not the overcharge, that's the triad. Right, I thought the range was a little bit too far there for the com. Another Cerberus turret up further back. I think he's going to regret not building that shield gen a little bit earlier. Railgun online, but he's having some trouble now with the Cerberus turret. Thank goodness he stopped to build those railguns earlier. These bombers starting to become a little bit of a problem from Tetreagrammaton, but he's still in good shape. Still 12,000 hit points in play, and there's still nothing down here that stands any chance of really ousting him. We're going to go to split screen here because it looks like he's thinking about making a little bit of a push over at Apophenas and Butek's base to try and counter a little bit. And I think Butek's got too many blazes. He's also got this asylum here for him to make any progress, and if Butek can hold him at bay and not allow him into the main base, this will be a very successful com drop indeed. Finally we're getting some commitment to some shield coverage. That's already 60% done and climbing. Triad PD going up further back. So we've had some gifted T2 engineers from Tetreagrammaton over to OXY. That's nice teamwork. And that starts firing, but the T2 shield gen already operational. Apophenas working on another triad of his own, but look at the damage he's inflicted so far. However, all 4 core mexes still in play, and at T2 for OXY. The top one up here has been taken out. That would have been at T2 by judging by everything else that's already at that level of tech. And there's been no significant gains on this side of the field whatsoever. So we can go back to single screen. This is now looking incredibly bad for Team 1. This is nice work from Apophenas. He selected the biggest threat of the opposing team, and he's gone straight for it with aggressive playstyle after looking like they were well behind, and he's caused some major problems. He's withdrawn his ACU from the front line. He's coming a little bit further back, trying to create a new bank of Cerberus turrets, some more PD, a second shield gen being queued up for Apophenas just as this one looking like it's about to drop, but the pressure gets relieved, and that's going to buy him some time. First core mechs taken out there by Apophenas. Cerberus turret online from OXY, once again pressurizing that shield, but another shield about to come online slightly further behind it, so no ground is going to be gained with that single solitary T2 PD. And OXY has withdrawn all of his hoplites from the front. He realizes he can't deal with Apophenas with what he's got at his main base, and that is probably going to yield the northern aperture to Butek, although he's not pushing at the moment. Tetreagrammaton was in the area. He's starting to erect a little bit of a defensive line further back should Butek decide to push. 2 shield gens though in play, both a little bit damaged or a little bit depleted already, however. But the number of triads continues to increase for Apophenas, and that single solitary unupgraded Cybran T2 shield not going to be able to do anything. Down it goes, and now that Cerberus turret will surely follow. Just as the shields collapse, OXY finds himself out of options, and Apophenas just looking far too dug in right now. He hasn't sent all of the hoplites in because there's too much point defense. Can't believe this play, and this has bought Butek so much time. He's made the transition to T3. He's got Harbs on the field, and we've got a T2 transport gifted over from Apophenas. So there's really good teamwork going on here, and that's all without the aid of any kind of in-game chat, so these guys must be on comms. Starlifter collects the Harbs. Question is, who are they going for and where are they going to take it? Team 1's defense torn apart by this comm drop from Apophenas. Looks like they're going for OXY as well. All 4 core mechs is now out of commission. And Inti's already running screen there from Apophenas, protecting the drop zone for his teammate. 3 Harbingers on the field, and suddenly OXY's problems just got worse. Tetreagrammaton now helping OXY out a little bit, trying to build some shields in his base. OXY's suggesting that the game might already be over. You know what? It's a long way back from here. He might well be right. We do at least have T3, or the ability to get T3 on the field for Tetreagrammaton. He's also building a little bank of TAC missiles here. I wonder if he's thinking about a cheeky snipe on Apophenas. That would be a strong turnaround, but Harbs completing their sortie against that top mechs. Continue to push forward. Energy storage down. Where does that leave OXY? It leaves him without the ability to overcharge. No other storage in place, so he won't be marching forward and killing off the Harbs with overcharge. Tetreagrammaton probably going to have access to it though. maybe not enough power. But there's a lot of PD in here now for OXY. And the last harb taken out of play. But still, Apophenas sitting in here. And these TAC missiles coming in from this battery back here, going straight after the shield gens. That's not a bad little play from Tetreagrammaton. Gotta love the all or nothing comm drop. OXY trying to extend shield coverage towards Apophenas' position. Apophenas has taken his comm out of those shield gens, concerned obviously about a potential TAC missile snipe. Another Harbinger drop, this time not into the main base, but into the center half of the map, but on Team 1's side. TAC missiles inbound, and still no buzz kills in play. There are no T2 engineers around here, so without the comm, they can't get started. Global missile launchers taking care of that forward triad. Only one left in that base, and I think the job is probably done for Team 2. Apophenas needs to be careful here. Doesn't want to get his comm trapped in a potential counter-attack. Forward come the hoplites. Those engineers getting as much of the mass out of this base as they can. He's actually got the TAC missile launcher on there, Apophenas. Very, very cheeky indeed. Apophenas using his commander with great effect, and that's what's taken out all of the core mexes, all of the mexes in Tetreagrammaton's base. A little bit of not so friendly banter going on between the teammates for Team 1, and Apophenas, wisely recognizing that the time had come to evac his comm, manages to escape. Team 1 with no options to shoot it down. Air Force completely destroyed, and I can only suggest that that is going to be game in this one. There's no way surely back from this one. OXY 14 mass per tick, Tetreagrammaton 27 mass per tick, playing 78 and 141. It's an incredibly effective comm drop, which has more or less nailed the eco of their opponents. Nicely done, Team 2. A few units on the move from Butek here. 3 harbs and 3 blazes. Don't need to worry about mixing up any anti-air in there. They haven't got any. There goes the TAC missile battery at the front. New bombers come in overhead, but that's not going to affect the harbs in any great way, shape or form. Tetreagrammaton trying to throw together a line of PD at the front, but harbs just too dangerous. No real counter for them on the field. As they stroll into Grammaton's base, causing just about as much damage as Butek could have possibly hoped. Line of build capacity back there trying to throw together some PD, but really it's just delaying the inevitable. Harb split go after the mass points at the edge, and the units of build capacity littered around this base. And now Grammaton with no power step in to overcharge. Very nice work from Butek, keeping these guys on the run. goes the PD. Cheeky Harb is going to reclaim it as well before he moves on. Switches up as well he should to that T2 Mex. Tetreagrammaton left with just a paltry 11 mass per tick flowing into his coffers. Another drop up top from Butek. 2 more Harbs. Re-enter OXY's base. Once again going straight for the T2 Mexes, not allowing OXY to get re-established. He's going to want to get them on the move though. OXY coming in with his commander. How much can they see? You can see just about everything with Apophenas' scout planes overhead. And now we've got T3 Air making an appearance as well. An Ambassador strap bomber coming in from Apophenas. Overhead straight for the engineers. Another T2 Mex down. OXY trying to chase down these Harbs, but that's no easy task with an ACU. Taking a large amount of fire in the process. Another 2 Harbingers coming in, and that looks like a Control K from OXY, who had enough and bows out of the game at minute 28. Now the rest of this game just a formality. Beautiful bomb there from that Ambassador, taking out a huge clump of build capacity just before it goes pop. Oh, nasty. Right in the center of the power grid. A GC turns up for good measure as well from Butek. It's a huge line of triads down here. The first bit of action they've had this game. But not enough to stop that GC at all. Tom walks forward with his ACU, trying to deal with these Harbs as best he can. But it's too little too late. The GGs go out all round. Very, very nicely played from Team 2 indeed. Very aggressive. Support commanders rolling in for good measure. Boom! Well, hope you enjoyed that, guys. A little bit unusual ISIS there. Like I say, as always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.